Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, swing and miss. The Yankees strike out on Yamamoto. He ends up with the Los Angeles Dodgers for the tune of $325 million on a 12-year deal, announced late last night. And obviously, a lot of Yankee fans are disappointed because they've seen, a lot of the media hype say how the Yankees were, on the inside track, quote unquote, to get Yamamoto, but he ultimately signed with the Dodgers. And obviously, this is someone I felt that's a place where I thought he would land. And whether you're listening here or if you saw some of the recent YouTube episodes, I just mentioned that the Dodgers seem like a more likely fit for him. I'm not shocked. A little bummed out a little bit. It's been cool to have him here, but again, it's not really of a surprise. Again, it just seemed like the Dodgers just made so much more sense for him. And I'll go over all that again. But before we get started, a lot of cool stuff left to go as we head towards 2024 there. And of course, before you know it, catches and pitches will be reporting to spring training there. So I'm sure there's still some moves for the Yankees to make, especially now that they don't have Yamamoto. They're going to have to find another relevant, good starting pitcher somewhere else. So a lot more to discuss. And I'm sure, again, Cashman is going to be making more tweaks to this roster as we go along. So make sure you subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it. And of course, I mentioned before, there is a YouTube version of the show as well. So hop over to YouTube, go to Section 420 Talkin Yankees, subscribe there as well, and get notified when new episodes go up. Not as frequently here, but pretty close. So make sure you want to catch all that stuff. So, the news came late last night that Yamamoto is going to sign with the Dodgers. And, I've mentioned this previously. It made so much more sense for him to go there. He had a couple of prerequisites. Number one, he wanted to play on a quote-unquote big stage. I understand probably playing for the New York Yankees is probably maybe a bigger stage than the Dodgers a little bit, but the Dodgers are nothing to scoff at. If the Yankees are 1 and Dodgers are 1A, it's Los Angeles. It's it's an organization that's well known, going back to the Brooklyn Dodgers days, and more recently, the Dodgers have been a more successful organization than the New York Yankees. Been in more World Series, have won more World Series, been more relevant, won over 100 games last season. I know they got bounced out early by the Arizona Diamondbacks by surprise there, but nevertheless, the Dodgers have been a more successful franchise lately than the New York Yankees. It's right there on the West Coast. Man, you got all the Hollywood and the fanfare and all the celebs in the crowd, so you get all that attention. Of course, you have the proximity to Japan. It's a closer flight than for his family and himself to get back and forth to Japan there. So that all makes sense. And the Dodgers are, again, well known and respected in Japan as well. So it's not like he's coming here to join like the Arizona Diamondbacks or coming here to join like the Milwaukee Brewers or something like that. Again, Dodgers are a well-known established organization. Don't ignore the obvious. They just signed Ohtani, and you heard reports earlier that he wanted to join a team where at least there was one or other Japanese players there just for him to have a buddy to cozy up to. Obviously, the Yankees don't have any of that right now, so I know during the negotiations they try to break out Matsui, they try to break out Tanaka there, try to cozy this guy up to the Yankees there, but Ohtani's different. He's in the game, he's an active player, he's the first and second best player in the game right now. He just signed his mega contract with the Dodgers. And again, now you have this sort of rock star team with Ohtani and Yamamoto. So it just seemed like the Dodgers, as long as the money was within reason of other teams, he was going to sign with the Dodgers. And now, as it turns out, it seems like the Yankees' second meeting, they offered him the number 18, which again is kind of a nostalgic thing for a lot of Japanese pitchers. They offered him the jersey. Actually, just gave him the jersey, so I guess he could take that home with him. Obviously, he'll probably never wear it on a mount for the Yankees, but he'll have it there. And it seemed like the offer they made was $300 million, so a little higher than the $250 figures we heard earlier. So they heard that. Then you get reports after that the Mets actually outbid the Yankees. Steve Cohen was willing to cash in at $325 for Yamamoto. But ultimately, the Dodgers matched Steve Cohen's $325, and then I guess ultimately, since that's probably where he really wanted to be the entire time, he gave the nod and it was finalized. So $325 million from the Dodgers, and as of right now, it doesn't seem to be one of these structured deals like Ohtani with it deferring the money. So he's going to be paid $27 million per year, and also just for the right to offer him a contract, the Dodgers also have to pay a $50 million bidding fee for him. So I believe that goes to his Buffaloes team out there in Japan there, just for the rights to buy him there. So ultimately, this is costing the Dodgers $375 million for this one guy. Now, he's young. He's 25 years old. You catch him in his prime. He hasn't really logged the big innings yet. Where someone like Dice K, when he came here, already had a ton of innings on his arm. This is a different situation. So it's a 12-year deal, so he's going to be around in Dodger uniform for a while. And then by 2025, when Ohtani's okay to pitch as well, you're going to have a rotation of Yamamoto and Ohtani, which again is pretty cool there. And of course, we know kind of the super team, which is going to be the story of 2024. You know that. And if you're a Yankee fan, yeah, I know you're bummed out. Yeah, you wanted him. And I think the New York media was hyping it up a little bit that the Yankees had the inside track and he was coming here. Didn't buy that too much. part of me was like, all right, this is going to happen. But I just felt he was being overhyped as coming here. I just still think the Dodgers made more sense for him, and that's where ultimately it went. Now, I know Yankee fans are going to complain, oh, this is the Yankees being cheap, Hal being cheap. George would never let him go there. I don't know if that's true or not, man. That's $375 million or $350 million for this guy, with considering the posting fee. That's a lot. I mean, for a guy that I'm sure he'll probably be very good here, but he's not really a sure bet, and there's almost so much money you could throw around like that. And look what happened when we got Tanaka. He was awesome at like the first 75% of the season. Then he tore the UCL there. He had to be shut down. And look, he had a good career for the Yankees, but it was never what we thought he would be. He was probably not as good as what he was getting paid for. Now, again, I would say it was a good move for the Yankees. I wouldn't regret that deal for a second. But, what did we get out of it? Maybe 1 or 2 playoff appearances in 2015 and 2017, and that's really it. Did we win any championships with Tanaka? No. So I don't think it's like, guaranteed to come here, would have won the whole thing. So I think the Yankees made a fair offer. I think $300 million is fair. I don't think they were being cheap. It's just the Dodgers, they play at a different level right now, and they're even more the Yankees than the Yankees. They got this big ownership group. You got people like Magic Johnson aboard, and they've got a ton of money they're able to throw around. It's just hard to beat that. And again, the conditions as well, it just spoke by more that, Yamamoto would want to play there. It just made more sense. So I'm not bummed out. A little disappointed, but not bummed out because it kind of seemed that's where he's going to go anyway. And I don't think it's an opportunity to really criticize the Yankees on that. I think they did everything. They had the meeting with him, and Yamamoto even requested the second meeting, so something in that first meeting that Yamamoto liked. So, they got the ball rolling, took it to the end zone there. But, at the end of the day, the Yankees probably had that price point. $300 million was probably the cap, and that's it. So Dodgers are probably the better organization right now. They're more attractive, and they have Ohtani. It's hard to beat that offer. And plus, New York is cold, too. I mean, maybe these guys want to pitch in the freezing weather. I mean, April, May, and even early June sometimes can be a little chilly here, surprisingly. And then you get into fall baseball, then New York is cold. Maybe this guy wants to pitch also in a warmer climate. You got Los Angeles climate versus New York climate. It's a totally different ballgame. I know the Dodgers have to go on the road in some places, but, I'm sure this guy would rather pitch in LA weather than New York weather. So you also have to factor that in. So there were a lot of factors there. It was going to be hard to Yankees to really woo him over away from the Dodgers. So that's that. And you just tip your cap and say, bon voyage, and see where the chips may fall. And the best thing you do, you hope that somehow the Yankees get into the World Series, whether it's this year, next year, and then beat them. And there you go. That'll be your satisfaction if you're the Yankees. Now, if you're the Yankees, you're kind of stuck with this void a little bit. Now, it's good in one sense because in a way it's like you had this big expense you were expecting, and now you don't have to pay it. It's almost like a relief in a way. So there might be some, people in the front office actually happy that this deal didn't happen because now they have more money they could throw around in other areas, which may, in the end, turn out to be the better thing. Now, more urgently for a starting pitcher, you do have Jordan Montgomery out there as an option. You have Blake Snell, who just won the National League Cy Young Award winner out there. Now, Montgomery obviously would be probably a less expensive item than Snell, but now that the fact that you just spent all this money on Yamamoto, now you can throw it at Blake Snell, who's not going to cost as much as $300 million, I'll tell you right there. So this might actually turn out to be a better deal if you maybe bring in Snell here versus Yamamoto. And Yamamoto, look, I said it long term he'll be all right, but there's going to be some adjustments. First of all, Japanese players have 5 days rest versus here in the States we have 4 days rest, and that's something that Tanaka had to go through a little bit and adjust to. So, this guy may not be great out of the chute, and of course there's adjustments with the baseball they use, the size of the ball, and there's the nuances of different ballparks, the rules and all that here. I mean, there's going to be an adjustment period for Yamamoto where it might work out for him, it might not work out for him. We don't know that. Again, over the long term it'd be fine, but at least the first year there's going to be some bumps in the road. Whereas you sign someone like, Blake Snell, who's been here, done that, as well as pitching the American League East. So he's faced some of these teams that usually have big dominating lineups and done well, before getting traded out to the Padres there. There's no nuances with him. There's no adjustment periods. You can pretty much put the uniform on him and the guy will hit the ground running. So that might be the benefit of getting someone like him. Or again, if you go to someone like Jordan Montgomery, he's also been there, done that. He's pitching here, he's pitching for the Yankees, pitching around, pitching the World Series, just won a World Series ring there. So again, you don't really have any adjustment periods with Jordan Montgomery. Now the only difference with Montgomery is that you're going to have to shave him up a little bit like Verdugo. He kind of grew the beard out there when he went out to St. Louis and then got traded to Texas there. So it comes to the Yankees, you have to shave him up a little bit. But nevertheless, that's his little minor point. Speaking of Verdugo there, he had his Zoom call press conference, which is similar to Soto, very underwhelming. In fact, I think he did it like in his bedroom because you look at the back, it was like kind of like this closet in the back there. So it was really underwhelming. Like the camera was pointed up. It was like we really dropped the ball here in terms of media. I mean, I know the comfort of be able to have your smartphone or whatever, or your device or your laptop and do an interview anywhere, but come on, Can you have not have your closet in the background there and look like you're just kind of sitting on your bed looking upwards, having a little FaceTime chat with your girlfriend before going to sleep there? So, but nevertheless, nothing out of that. And also here, Boone gave some comments on the Yamamoto deal. Also gave some comments about Jason Dominguez's recovery, saying actually he's recovering faster than they thought. So that's good news there. And he's saying, quote unquote, he's looking like a player for them. So I would temper my enthusiasm. He'll probably not be back up till June, July, probably more July, just the way it is. But neverthelheless, they say he's recovering from the Tommy John surgery quicker than they think. So it's good news there. So that's the episode. Disappointing with Yamamoto, but you shouldn't be surprised. I mean, the Dodgers just seem like the more likely fit for him overall. Then not a situation I would kill the Yankees with. Why don't you bid higher for this guy? Because again, they had him at certain price points, and again, even for the Yankees, there's a limit to everything. You can't just throw around $400 million and $500 million on this person, because you already have guys on the big contracts. And look at Carlos Rendon coming here. I mean, you gave him a boatload of money. How'd that turn out? So there is a big risk sometimes as well. So didn't turn out, but I don't think it's the end of the world for the Yankees. I still think they could have a really good 2024 without Yamamoto. Catch you next time.